So I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but yes, Arcane Season 2, the trailers have dropped. So I thought it would be a little bit of fun if we could go into what we think Vi's journey will be. And yes, I chopped up the trailers into what I thought possibly could be the arcs that we will be dealing with. You can let me know your favorite Vi psychological theories and what you think her arc will be in the comments below.
You were right, Kate. My sister is gone. There's only Jinx now.
So we start off with Vi coming to the realization that the person Powder that she believed her sister was has changed. And we often have so much cognitive dissonance, especially with family members or with children, that they might not be who we perceive them to be. Often when we look up to someone or we care about someone very deeply, we have this idealized version of their personality. And we can often have all kinds of cognitive dissonance, this protection to believe that anything bad can be attributed to them. And often what we do is we'll justify things. If they do something wrong, it's someone else's influence or someone else's reasons. That way we don't have to alter our belief system or have to deal with the realization that they need to take responsibility for their actions, or in Vi's case, that she may actually have to stand up against her. So in this case, Jinx has already launched her missile that has killed the people in the council, and specifically Caitlyn's mom. And so I think that that also is going to be this huge rift between Caitlyn and Vi. Vi's wearing Clagor's glasses, like they look exactly like Clagor's glasses, and so she's taken apart a memento from her past. A lot of that is to remember what she's fighting for, what really matters. And for Vi, she does a lot of her fighting not for herself, but for the people around her. A lot of her personality is being that protector. And for people that have gone through a lot of loss or been bullied or have been seen as weak, they often will take the opposite of personality types. They will become hypersensitive to that, and so whatever was their weakness, they're going to do everything they can to try to stop that, become as strong as they can, in the hopes and the thought that then they can stop bad things from happening to them.
I want to tear that laugh from her throat forever.
I'm ready.
Jinx! Finally got the name right.
And I think that that part's really bittersweet for me. One is that she's acknowledging Jinx as not as the Powder that she used to know, which in many cases would be respectful. But I think that for Vi, it's also the loss of the hope that this is still her sister, that her sister is still in there. Names and words matter, what we call things, the way that we look at things. And often when we've altered a belief system about something, everything around that also alters. The way that we form beliefs is almost like a tower of cards. We have our belief system that is built one upon the other. Often it's easier for us to believe things in just black and white. And for Vi, she's one of those people that takes a radical responsibility upon her shoulders. So a lot of the things that Jinx has done, she blames herself, that she could have changed it, she could have altered it, and it's up to her to be able to fix it. Even though it's not. Everyone is responsible for themselves, but especially when you're dealing with a group or a family member, we often feel responsible for them. And for Vi, because she has all of these leadership traits, she really feels like she let Powder, Jinx, down. She's her big sister. She was supposed to protect her. She was supposed to keep her safe. So she carries that responsibility, similar to a mom and their child, that if she had done a better job, if she had been there, that maybe Powder wouldn't have turned into who Jinx became. Which isn't truly fair. Everyone's responsible for themselves. It was Vi who took on that maternal role. For me, I really hope that this fight scene is in the middle or between Act 1 and Act 2 and not the actual final battle. I think that it's really important for her arc to be complete in this hero's journey, in that she gets to have this fight between her and Jinx, but that's not the end, where they can come back together, that they can find this common ground, that even though they're fighting on opposite sides right now, that they end up having each other's back in the end. That question of what would you do for a sibling, what would you do for someone you love when everything's on the line, really is a lot of the story of Arcane, of what do we do, what do we care about, and what will we fight for? Okay, this is also probably the coolest Vi. I think that everyone that loves Vi will truly love and have their hearts broken by Vi as pit fighter Vi. Also, I believe that this would happen right after the loss, right after that huge fight between Jinx, Vi, and possibly Caitlyn. Possibly it's because Vi defends her sister or protects her sister again, and Caitlyn can't cope. And that causes that rift. And so it would make sense that this is the Vi that has lost everything. She's lost Caitlyn, she's lost Jinx, she's lost her hope and thoughts of who she was. And now it brings out all of her avoidant tendencies. What happens to the fighter that fights for everyone when there's no one left? So this is where all of those elements, Vi being avoidant, she's been using all kinds of different things, fighting for different things, thinking of different things. But because of that, she's never had to face her own inner demons. And now that she has nothing to distract herself, all of those old maladaptive habits of self-sabotage come back to haunt her. And when you've lost everything and you don't have that belief in yourself or that hope to be able to fight for something, often then what happens is you go back to whatever you know best. And this seems like the Vi that no longer cares about anything or even herself. And so she does the only thing that she knows, which is to be able to fight. Fight everything and everyone. Why? Because she's angry, because she's hurt, because she doesn't have the answers. And we can often go back into those old maladaptive patterns when we fall into that place, that feeling of hopelessness and no longer having a care for yourself. And she's also hidden her own identity. I think that for this show, it's probably just safer for her, but psychologically, we often try to hide from ourselves so we don't have to face the things that we don't want to. So for Vi, she changes her hair color to be a darker Vi. She also hides the VI on her face so that people don't know it. But a lot of times we're hiding from ourselves, from the truth, from the fact that we're angry at ourselves and we don't want to be able to face it. You can't just fight your way through pain. It's something to be able to keep fighting. And I think that that's really important. And I think that's a huge part of Vi's personality. But in the end, if you don't actually deal with the psychological trauma, it'll just keep on coming up in different shapes, in different forms. You actually need to deal with coming to terms with the truth of your behavior, accepting the responsibility to that, but also the healing aspects to that, to be able to accept the pain, to validate it, to soothe yourself, and to be able to pick up the pieces. And to be able to do that, you have to be able to feel it. But for Vi, that isn't safe. That kind of confrontation is not in her personality type. If she can't fight it, she doesn't want to cope with it. And so she's using all kinds of avoidance techniques. She's fighting during the daytime, drinking at night. Why? Because that shuts off that inner voice so she doesn't have to think, so that she doesn't have to feel those feelings of pain. She's running from things. But the thing is that the pain isn't on the outside. You can't fight it. It's internal. So no matter what, when she sobers up or she wakes up, it's still there. And that's the problem, is that you can get lost in this cycle of trying to run from your problems, but because the problems are inside, no matter what, every time you look, they're right next to you. And the other part of going through this self-sabotage is that often it becomes this self-fulfilling journey where then it proves to yourself that you're not deserving of anything better because of all of these things that are happening, that you're trying to push everyone away. One, to be able to test people, will they actually stay? But also, I think for Vi, it's a way of punishing herself for all of the failures that she sees them as. And we can only do the best we can with the tools that we have at hand. But unfortunately, even when we try our best, sometimes we come up short. And we need to learn that we have to just do our best, pick up the pieces, and rebuild. And you see her starting to get all of these flashbacks of the things that she's lost, of all of her pain. No matter what, it's coming back to haunt her. She's seeing these things, these flashes of Caitlin that she's lost, her sister that she's lost, how she's all alone. And the more that you face that, the more that she tries to run. What happens with avoidance is that it's the bedfellow of anxiety. The more that you avoid something, the more that you have anxiety every time you see it, which makes you want to run away again. What happens is that it's actually its own reward cycle. So when you avoid something because it's distressing to you, you feel relief. That relief is a reward, which then the next time that you feel that negative feeling, you want to avoid it again, even stronger, which makes it grow to have even more anxiety every time you have to face it. So you're actually creating your own monster that you can't get away from. I think that that's what Arcane does really well. It goes through to be able to express emotional pain and how it feels so beautifully in a visual way. So you can really feel it. You can feel her frustration, her feelings of this repetitive every day that nothing really is getting better. And unfortunately, because of all of her ways of trying to fight things that don't actually fix things, because you feel worse from drinking and fighting, your body is going to slowly break down because you're not caring for yourself. And those actions of self-sabotage will be self-fulfilling. And then that last scene of now she's alone. Her friend that was with her before, and they're all working together as an army. Now she's alone. Even he has left. The problem with that is that if your behavior continues to not change, yes, you will exhaust the people around you. But for Vi, that's just then proof of, you know what? No matter what, everyone will leave. No one wants to say, I am that bad. We often internalize that negative self-talk that we already believed in the first place. But in this case, she's created this journey, this story that now she is in. And for many people, it's that hitting rock bottom when there's nothing left that can sometimes have you wake up to be able to want something different, that this isn't working. But it's a really difficult thing. It's a difficult thing for yourself and for everyone around you to watch that kind of endless suffering. Now for me, I think this would be the perfect time for Vi to be able to face Vander as Warwick, because that forces her to face those feelings of loss, of failure, and also to be able to remember all of those lessons that Vander gave her. And so you see Vi as pit fighter Vi. She's wearing the jacket. So that's why I think that this would be right after her pit fighter scene where she has to be able to confront it. She can't run anymore. And that's often what happens, is that when you stop running from something and face it, one is often it's not as bad as you think. In this case, I think it's going to be as bad as she thinks, but also, it allows you to be able to process things. We don't process things if we're not actually thinking about it and dealing with it. And for me, I really hope that this is also the time where it's her and Jinx to be able to face Warwick together. In my hopes, she has to make the choice of protecting her sister or protecting Vander as Warwick as her father figure. In this case, I really hope it's they kind of both protect each other, because I think that that's what will bond these sisters together. This was the thing that tore them apart, Vander dying. And I think that this also can be the thing, sorry, I'm getting emotional, but this can be the thing that pulls them back together, to be able to be with each other, to remember that, you know what, that family, that sisterly bond, this love matters more than anything else. They can work together against Mbessa or the Arcane to be able to save Piltover, to save the world. That is my deep hope for this. And I think that that would be a wonderful arc for them together. Also, I think that it's really wonderful because for Vander, he walked onto the bridge, this fighter with the gloves, and then he left as a father. And I think that I love the fact that for Vi, her difference was that, you know what, you still sometimes have to fight. Sometimes you have to fight to protect us. And so her walking into this as a fighter, but not taking responsibility, but then keeping some of those aspects of fighting that she needs in order to protect the people she cares about, to remember that, I think would be really wonderful. And who knows, when we go through the arc of Jinx and her change as well, that flip of who they become, this Vi becoming Dark Vi, this pit fighter and loss of all hope, and possibly the arc of Jinx perhaps becoming hope and peace. That might be the thing that allows Caitlin to see that Jinx isn't the person she used to be, and we really do want to judge people on who they are now, not who they used to be. We can change.
So what are you planning?
Vi, but she has aspects. She has some of the black hair still left over. She has pieces of her past, but now she's also reincorporated herself, her old self with her red hair. And that's the beauty of healing and going through different things in our life, that even horrible things can teach us different lessons. And if we can incorporate those together, we can become stronger because of it. And for Vi, you see, she still has the gloves. Vander had one lesson, but she is her own person, and she's learned a different thing, that she can still be the fighter and the protector all together. You don't have to become a pit fighter to develop your own inner confidence. You can get closer to your goals by expanding your mind and yourself with today's sponsor, Brilliant.org. Learn, enhance, grow with Brilliant's ever-expanding set of new courses. And Brilliant makes college-level courses to help you stay as strong as you need to fight in this world. Each course is designed for high-velocity learning to help you stay focused and to reach your goals so that you don't lose the fight. And Brilliant makes learning like a game with fun features that let you challenge yourself and compete with others. So it never gets boring. And we all know that when learning is fun and engaging, it makes the knowledge stick better. You actually will learn more easily and more quickly. And Brilliant has thousands of lessons: math, chemistry, physics, engineering, AI, and so many more. And new courses are being added monthly. When I practice a skill, I just practice for 15 minutes a day. That is absolutely all you need to learn something new. And no one can tell me they don't have 15 minutes to expand their mind. The next course I'm going to be getting into is how large language models work, because I find AI absolutely fascinating. And the cool part is that Brilliant makes it interactive, and you can break it down into smaller and smaller chunks. And if you're still not sure, you are still not sure, just try everything, yes, everything that Brilliant has to offer for absolutely free for a full 30 days. Just head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow, and yes, doing that still helps out my channel. And if you want more, which you totally will, you can also get 20% off of an annual premium subscription. Clicking on the button on the screen, or head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow. Clicking on the button does help out my channel, so thank you to brilliant.org, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. And so my hope is that yes, Vi, Caitlin, and Jinx are gonna end up fighting to be able to save Piltover and the world against perhaps Ambessa, or perhaps it will be Victor using the Arcane. We will have to see. These are my predictions for Vi and her psychological hero's journey. You can let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments below.